What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Multiverse Monologues, the podcast show where we like to travel across the multiverses and fandoms that we love to talk about the movies and television shows that accompany those universes. In 2014, James Gunn, who was not very much a household name, delivered one of the most epic, crowd-pleasing movies that the world had ever seen, and the Marvel Universe was never the same after that. And 3 years later, he delivered his sequel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and that is the movie that we are discussing here today on the Marvel Movie Marathon. We're in 2017. Last week, we reviewed Logan, which was an excellent film. It is, I believe, if I recall correctly, it is our number 2 film on the list, and we're also talking about a number 2 film today, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's right. Great.
Number 2, you mean a dump of a film, right?
A dump of a film. Well, okay, well, I mean, we're definitely going to talk about it. Which one's better? This is the second Guardians movie, dives deeper into the characters that we loved from the first film, but diving into it this week and every week on the Marvel Movie Marathon and Multiverse Monologues is first and foremost Mr. Ethan Westloff. Ethan, how you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be here. And it's always fun to visit James Gunn's characters because with all those characters comes a character that we started this journey with, Howard the Duck. I'm going to take the advice from Howard the Duck in this movie. You know, you're out of luck until you've gone duck. So that's what I'll leave with you guys as we start this podcast.
Dr. Quack right over here.
Oh,
Yes.
man. Wow. I mean, what a beautiful scene. It really took me back to that podcast of almost 2 years ago now. Like I'm over a year and a half for sure. That's been this Marvel Movie Marathon. It's great to have Howard the Duck back. It's also great each and every week when Mr. Micah Het joins us on the podcast. Micah, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, there are those who dance and there are those who do not. And thankfully, this movie dances.
Ooh.
Are you a dancer, Micah?
It makes me dance. You know,
in
gets
the camp?
makes me dance a little bit in my seat with all these mixtapes. Man, I listen to this mixtape so much. This one, the first one, the third one just came out. I wish I got the mixtape for that. So sick. Love it.
We're going to talk about the mixtape, especially in this specific one, because this is the one that I remember too, like just loving the most.
Oh yeah.
The most. I played it. It probably helped that I had a phone in 2017 versus 2014. So I was able to enjoy it more and have it on my playlist more. But I think this is the first time where the music literally is a part of the story.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't the first, but not to the to the effect of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I don't think. But we're going to get into that. But before we do, again, I said it last week, but I've actually got 2 plugs here. 2 plugs.
Ooh.
First is YouTube. I'm going to remind you guys, we're at 494.
So
we're at
close.
494 right now. We are
As
so
the time
close
of recording.
to 500 subscribers. So if you could check out YouTube, go subscribe. It would be epic if you did that. But also, Mr. Micah has been pretty busy as of late, and I don't mean with his actual job. I mean with his more important job, Multiverse Monologues, which is now officially certified on LinkedIn. All right, it's certified on LinkedIn. So if you're a part of LinkedIn, if you're looking for jobs or whatever, you're not gonna get it on this podcast.
You won't make it.
We have an elite,
Your resume's not there.
an
Sorry.
elite employment rate.
Yeah, it really is. But you can check us out on LinkedIn.
Follow us
because
on LinkedIn.
That is now one of our social medias as well. We're looking to really boost our numbers on LinkedIn.
I think if you go on the LinkedIn, you can answer a poll Micah put up about the Aquaman 2 trailer.
Oh, that's right.
Man, what a great
Is
trailer
it
that
cringe
was.
or is it king?
Go vote now on LinkedIn. Gentlemen, let's open our sling rings and head over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I've been paid. Ah, my nipples.
Ow, my nipples!
Showtime, a-holes. Gonna be here any minute.
Which will be its loss.
I thought your thing was a sword.
We've been hired to stop an interdimensional beast from feeding on those batteries, and I'm gonna stop it with a sword.
It's just swords were your thing and guns were mine. But I guess we're both doing guns now. I just didn't know that.
Drax, why aren't you wearing one of Rocket's arrow rigs?
It hurts.
Hurts.
have sensitive nipples.
My nipples hurt. Oh, goodness me.
The Guardians of the Galaxy are on a mission for the Sovereign, a race of genetically perfect beings. The Guardians must protect a powerful battery from an interdimensional monster, the Obelisk, in exchange for Gamora's estranged sister, Nebula. Rocket Raccoon, a member of the Guardians, steals the batteries for himself, enraging the Sovereign. The Guardians are then attacked by the Sovereign fleet and crash land on a nearby planet. They are rescued by a mysterious, tiny figure, Ego, who claims to be Peter Quill's father. Interesting. Ego then takes the Guardians to his home planet, where he reveals that he is a celestial, a powerful cosmic being. Ego explains that he wants to use the battery to expand his consciousness across the universe, but this will destroy all other life. The Guardians must stop Ego from carrying out his plan and save the galaxy.
Guard the galaxy.
And guard the galaxy. That is your plot summary for
Bard.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Yes. Thank you, Bard. In this age where the writers are on strike, mainly due to the uses of AI, we here at Multiverse Monologues strongly support AI. I'm just kidding.
Go AI.
No. But that's Guardians of the Galaxy, guys. 2017, they secured the May release spot, which has in the past been coveted by films like The Avengers, Captain America, The Avengers Age of Ultron. This is a big slot. Marvel's May slot is like their big movie
Spider-Man,
for each
Iron Man 3.
and every year. Like that movie has made, each movie has made close to, if not always, of over $1 billion. So it shows confidence after just one film that Marvel says, here, James Gunn, we're going to give you this release spot. We're going to let you do mainly pretty much everything you want to do with these characters that are, you made so beloved in that first film. But does it live up to the hype? Does it live up to the greatness that is that first film? Micah, if you could look where that first film ranks on our personal list, because that's the one that matters so far. Does this movie hold up? I know it was personally loved by so many, but what I remember from the critics, just off the top of my head, was that it failed to capture as much glory as that first one did. But where did we put the first
We
one?
put it on 7th place, just above Iron Man, just below Spider-Man 2.
So it's
according
in our
to
top 10.
average. Yeah. And Internet's pretty close too. I mean, they put it at 7th place with all the movies tied together. So we
wow.
are lined up for exactly the same spot.
We agree with the internet as of right now, as of our
Very
list.
rare that we do that.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
strange too.
that is true.
Strange. Iron Man is above it on the internet, and Spider-Man 2 is just below it for the internet
wow.
scores.
Wow. It's going to be really interesting to see how this shakes out once we finish.
Oh yeah.
But we're not here to talk about the list until the very end when we rank this, obviously, of
Little
course.
sneak peek.
We're here to talk about what we think of this film and our relationship first and foremost with Volume 2. So I'm going to throw this to Ethan first. What's your relationship with Guardians 2?
So this is one of the films that I have not watched as many times as I would like to say I've watched it, because I really do think this is only my third time watching it, which is a small amount for these Marvel films, especially a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But my relationship with this one is I remember liking it when I saw it the first time, and I remember the music was a standout. And over the years, as the songs have just reappeared on all of our playlists countless times, the music is just so iconic now. And James Gunn was actually, I was watching one of the special feature, and he was talking about how with the Guardians movies, he has a unique position to where he gets to create a museum around music he loves. So I kind of like viewing these movies as museums for music that James Gunn loves. And I think that's really cool. But famously, I think this is my least favorite Guardians movie going into the third one. And I love the first one, love this one, love the third one. But this rewatch, I was really like surprised by a lot of the emotions that I was feeling, specifically with every single character in the movie. Every single character has range and like an arc in some way. Like you got Nebula, Gamora here, you got Michael Rooker's Yondu, you got Rocket, you got Peter Quill, you got Ego with the super subtle name Ego. Just there's so like, I think the main thing that pulled me out of this first time I saw it was I didn't connect with the comedy as much as I did in the first one. And I still kind of am there. Taserface I don't like that. It doesn't,
They do push it pretty
it doesn't
hard.
work. The Taserface stuff, Drax is a little stupid at points, but I think it wraps around in the end. But anyway, however the comedy makes me feel, I think the character writing is so good that I'm happy to say I really like this movie, this rewatch. Yeah, this is a great movie.
Interesting. Okay. Did you see this movie in theaters when it came out?
I have no idea. The trailer, I remember the trailer, seeing the trailer and being excited for the movie. But I don't remember if I went to the theater to see this or not. I'm honestly not sure. But I remember that scene of Rocket telling Groot, all right, this is how you do the bomb, right? That's how the trailer ends.
Yep.
Then Groot runs off from the tunnel. I am Groot, you know? So I remember that, but I don't know if I saw this in theaters.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So kind of a haze around this one.
But you're hot.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
hot on this one
Oh,
this time.
Yes. Yeah. This is a good movie.
All right. Micah?
The year was 2018. I am in the theater for Avengers Infinity War. And all of a sudden, Rubber Band Man starts playing. In pop the Guardians. I'm like, oh, they brought these dudes back? We haven't seen them since, like, what, 2014, 2015? It's like, oh, okay. They're pretty cool. Finish the movie. There was a second one? What?
It's amazing.
I didn't know that there was a second movie when I watched Infinity War. So I went back, I watched it, and I was like, this movie rules. This is awesome. Flash forward maybe a week or two later. Maybe it was even that same weekend. I don't even remember. I watched Infinity War with my dad. And he's like, who are these dudes? I've never seen them before in my life. So we watched Guardians 1 and 2 right then and there. Well, I mean, after Infinity War. So I watched Guardians 2. First I watched Guardians 1 way back when it came out. Then I watched Guardians 2 after Infinity War. Then I watched 1 and 2 after my second watch of Infinity War. So I was pretty hot on the Guardians. My dad loves the Guardians. If you guys watch the Guardians 1 podcast, you'll know that my dad, he loves Drax. He loves Star-Lord. He loves Mantis and Drax's relationship in Guardians 2. I just love how every character has a different quip with each character, whether you realize it or not. They're all there. Like even I was just reading, I didn't realize this, Groot doesn't dance in front of Drax because Drax finds not dancing to be cool. I mean, he was just talking about his wife and how beautiful she was
More than
for
cool,
not
actually.
dancing. So that's like him trying to impress Drax in a way. So there's just like all these little things, and then they tie it together at the end. Like, oh, the thing you're missing is right next to you
The whole time.
the whole time.
Chills. You get
Oh,
chills.
so good.
Yeah.
And it's just the little tiny character moments that all add up to an amazing movie. Just all throughout. Every single little bit, it has so much care and love and just passion. This is a passion project of James Gunn.
Yes,
And we can tell every single Guardians movie was, I mean, the first one was made so we can introduce these characters, and Guardians 2 is to just go wild with them, to go places we haven't really been with a group of characters that we've only known for one movie. And he executes it very well.
Yes.
Unlike a second movie in a DC universe where it introduces, kind of delves into a big group of characters, but that's not, this isn't a Justice League episode. So
Yikes. And thank goodness it's not, because if we had to talk about that movie for an hour or whatever,
we can dog on it for
Hopefully
an
we
hour.
do one day.
myself.
One
well,
day.
yeah. And that's not going to be a pretty day. That's for sure.
But yeah, this may be my sixth time watching Guardians 2. I love this movie.
So you're hot on this.
I'm
like
hot on
Ethan.
this movie.
Okay. I like that you bring up that you watch this. You have a close personal relationship with this movie with your dad, because I think that's one of the best parts about this movie is the theme of parents, but specifically your father. Like, without a doubt, Guardians 2, one of the main themes is your relationship with your dad, also what's around you the whole time, but you don't really realize it.
Family.
I have said many times on this podcast that Guardians 2 is my favorite, and I am happy to say that with this rewatch, it is confirmed tenfold.
Congrats, Ben.
Did you say 10? Did you say
You're right.
tenfold?
Tenfold.
I'm just
Ben
talking
10?
about me personally. Like, I'm hot on this just like you guys are. This movie is fantastic. fantastic. And I think you're going to be surprised where I put this one in the ranking.
7.3.
Like, dude, no,
out of 10.
I'm not IMDb, man. When I looked at the IMDb score and I'm like, what?
Oh, wasn't it like a 7
That
point?
seems low.
It's a 7.6.
Okay.
It's not
It's-
awful.
Maybe
It's
that
not
tips
awful,
my
but
cap.
not what I would have rated
Not
it.
what I would have
Right.
rated it for sure.
But we'll get the chance to do
Dude.
that today.
Yeah,
You
we'll talk
say-
about.
So you say the humor doesn't work for you as much.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the humor in this movie, out of any MCU movie, works the best.
Yes,
In my opinion,
I agree.
I think this movie masters the Marvel humor. More so than even the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, because it is so stupid. So much of the humor is stupid.
Well,
Dude,
I wouldn't call it Marvel humor though, like because there's a tone to Marvel humor, right?
James
Where-
Gunn is very, very different. Than
Yeah.
what we
Generic
know
Marvel humor
yeah.
is any Marvel character could have said that. Like you can picture, anyone could have said that. But
Yeah.
this is very character-driven comedy. I feel.
Good point.
You can't have I mean, movies after this would copy what Drax did. You see Thor and Ragnarok say things that Drax totally would have said that, and it all started in Guardians 1 and Guardians 2. He pioneered. I said it in the first one. I'll say it again. James Gunn pioneered the comedy of Marvel movies going forward,
But
and
they-
this just reinstates that he did it first.
the problem is that they try and replicate this, and it doesn't always work.
It doesn't. No.
Like you're not gonna get as funny as Annulax batteries, Harbulary batteries. That's nothing like what I just said. Like who thinks of that as a joke? That's not. I wouldn't even have thought of that as a joke, and it's just stupid. And they bring it back for an even better moment
Yeah.
for that joke.
Yeah.
I watched the first half of this with Rebecca, and who is now a faithful watcher to the show. So we have
Oh,
to
is she?
watch your tones, guys. Watch your tones.
I will.
And she was absolutely dying whenever Dave Bautista does that guttural. Dude, you must be so embarrassed.
Yes.
Like, that is the peak of this movie.
He is so good in this movie. Like when they're flying on the ship, he's like, probably because Rocket stole their batteries. What, dude? Oh, I'm sorry. Rocket didn't steal their batteries. What a mystery this is. Like just quickly, but the way he can deliver those
It's
lines,
just punch after punch in the first 20 minutes of
no
this movie.
one could really do it like he could. I don't think. I really don't think. The humor really, really works. Even to this day, I find myself laughing
Right,
at
and
myself.
for me, I just want to defend what I said earlier. It's not that the humor doesn't work. It's just that some of the jokes, I think, go further than they needed to go, to where they were funny, and then they take that extra step where I'm like, okay, you didn't need to do that.
I
It was
think
funny before.
Laserface is the biggest. You want to go on that?
Taserface?
Taserface,
Well,
sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. What's there to go on it? They just use it over and over, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay.
Then they bring it back. I think the last time is the best time it works. But
With the Sovereign?
yeah, with the Sovereign, just because, paid off. Awesome. But that's about it. Another cool thing about the Taserface guy, according to the IMDb trivia page, he comes from a planet where Stark technology landed on, and they praise Starks. They're called Starkies or something.
Cool.
Something.
Starkies.
It's really stupid.
Aren't we all Starkies, though?
We're all Starkies at heart.
Let's be real.
Especially Ben's mom.
So yeah, she loves Tony Stark, man. This Marvel movie marathon, she's super hot on
No, wait, that was-
Tony Stark.
That was Chris Sullivan from This Is Us. Toby Damon.
Dude from Monsters, Inc., Sullivan?
Sully?
Oh, he was also in Stranger Things for 2 episodes. If you guys remember Benny Heyman.
Dude, the burger guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember
The
Benny
burger guy.
Hinn.
R.I.P. Benny.
Yeah, rip that guy.
Yeah.
Freaking
Cool guy, and This Is
government, man.
Us. He was a big character. 106 episodes of that show. Dang.
One of the-
wow, my mom loves that show.
So one of the things that I like that you brought up, Ethan, is the character writing for this movie is some of the best that we've seen on this marathon, without a doubt. What's the Russo brothers do for the greater MCU and specifically Iron Man and Captain America, James Gunn does for each and every one of those. And we're going to talk about it more in the Avengers films, but he does it so well that when they are handled by other writers, you
great,
notice
too. Yeah.
You notice. And they're great writers. Stephen Marcus and Christopher McFeely, they're great writers, but they're not James Gunn, and
Right,
these are
right.
James
These are his
Gunn's kids. Like,
babies.
dude,
Yeah.
you don't get better than this. Almost every character, and I specifically every character. I love that. I love that.
Because I specifically remember, all right, the Yondu stuff is great. The Peter Quill stuff and Ego stuff. I remember that being great. But man, there's a Drac arcs in here. There's a Mantis arc, a Nebula and
Nebula
Gamora.
almost gets one. I think she's more saving for Guardians 3.
I
Like,
think
it's
they
there.
they do work though.
Oh, they absolutely
and
give
especially
her and Gamora.
with in hindsight coming back to this movie and seeing that whole team fight, the team we love, the team that's in Guardians 3, they get to fight with Yondu in the final act of this movie. Like, I'm like, that is a team, that's squad right there. That's like,
Yep.
who cares about the Avengers? They are the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy. Except I didn't say frickin'.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
come on.
So, okay, I was thinking about this after they said the line. Would it have been better if he
F-bomb
just
go right
said
there?
the
Yeah.
F-bomb? I
yeah.
think that would have been a
Could've
better
been, could've
F-bomb
been.
than the one that they used in 3. Like, that to be the only
Would have
F-bomb
been
in
really
the
cool.
MCU,
Yeah.
said by Groot.
I don't think they were able to do it yet, though.
They weren't.
didn't build
And
up
probably
the
not.
chutzpah.
Yeah, right.
To
But it
really,
still would have been
drop
pretty
it.
freaking sick. Yondu, all-time high of a character in this movie. From the start, you have this super, like, deep storyline. They give him a way deeper storyline than the first one with Sylvester Stallone. I
Out of
forgot he
nowhere.
was in this movie.
Yeah, I remember he was in Guardians 3, and I didn't remember him being in
There's a
Guardians
whole
2.
team of Ravengers that are celebrities in this movie.
Yeah, we've got a wizard on the squad. We've got a
Well, Michelle Yeoh is
Michelle
in there,
Yeoh,
and
yeah.
Luther Stickle, forgetting the actor's name.
Green Mile.
Yeah, no, not
No,
Green
no.
Mile. That's Michael Clark
That
Duncan.
guy
Oh
died.
no, you're
This
right.
is-
it is.
and
It is
you
from
would-
Mission
you-
Impossible.
Yeah,
I think our audience would better know him from Daredevil anyway.
yes, Michael Clark Duncan.
If you've been keeping up with the Marvel movie marathon, that is true. I should have said Daredevil. That's true. But that scene between Yondu and Stakar, Sylvester Stallone, like he gives for the scene that he's in when he's yelling at Yondu.
What a dense scene, man.
my gosh.
Like, they drop all this. I told you, or was it Doctor Strange, how much lore dumping I love.
Yeah.
They're dropping all these things on you, and you just, like, wow, yeah, there's all this history with them.
You'll never get a grand gestured
Dang,
funeral. You know,
Yeah,
that'll never happen
your
for
lights
you.
will never shine on you, and
Yeah,
like that's cool stuff, because we can get the idea of what it is, and our ideas of it make it. It's the same thing with horror movies. The unknown is a scarier thing, and our own creativity is a more imaginative thing than what the writers could have come up with, and then they can expand upon it later.
Right, right. And they really
I mean, we
do.
see it with Star Wars, the original trilogy.
and I want to say
Mention
that,
of the Clone Wars, man, and the first.
speaking of that, the funeral, the beautiful funeral,
Oh,
we
so
just talked
good.
about Doctor Strange being the best, most beautiful Marvel movie. And quickly,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'm breaking any grounds here.
taking over right here. Yeah.
Guardians of
This
the Galaxy
has
takes
a
the
nomination.
cake.
Nomination for best visual effects. At the time, there were a couple. What was it? So this was considered one of the greatest visual effects of like to date in this movie. Was the core of Ego,
Because, I
and
mean, that whole place is CGI.
yeah, it was sitting at around a couple trillion polygons, right?
What's a polygon?
So a 1 trillion polygon. So when you're making a 3D model, you have to use triangles to create the edges of the thing. So like everything's made out of, or I guess polygons. So you see the triangle makes up a polygon with 6 of them. And then from there you make 3D models of things. So 1 trillion polygons
Holy cow.
were used to create the inside of Ego's planet.
Eagle. I mean,
It was considered the biggest visual effect ever made, and it
Wow.
got them nominated for. Let me see what they were up against. You guys keep talking.
Probably up against something that really sucked.
and probably also won.
Yeah,
The shot of, there's a shot of Gamora somewhere on Ego's planet, and the backdrop of space, there's a planet and a nebula in the background.
Yes, yeah.
And it's all like the neon colors. Like, dude, it was beautiful.
Dude, we didn't even talk about the intro with freaking Kurt Russell. I was like, Rebecca, what seems off about him to you? What do you notice about the dude? Does he like seem anything? Like, look real close. She's like, I don't know, looks like a dude.
He's young.
This is the cleanest deep fake
It's a
I
good
have
one.
seen
It's a good
ever.
young deep
Really
fake.
good.
Even looking back, like there is nothing that comes close. When
And
did
it
this movie
also
come out?
helps
This was
that Kurt Russell, he looks a lot like his younger. I mean,
ooh.
in that deep fake, he looks like he's upper 30s.
This was up against Blade Runner 2049,
Oh,
Kong Skull
okay.
Island, Last
You know what?
Jedi, and War for the Planet of the Apes.
What one? Blade Runner?
Blade Runner 2049.
Okay. This movie's beautiful. Blade Runner 2049, though, I'm not mad that that one.
Also,
won.
Doctor Strange lost against the Jungle Book,
Oh,
which that's a pretty impressive movie.
it is, but
Okay.
well, you know what, Doctor Strange. Okay, you know,
Doctor Strange was last week.
I
or 2
have
weeks
so
ago.
many issues with the Academy dealing out awards.
Oh,
so
wait till we get to
I'm
Black
not-
Panther.
I'm not even.
I love that you
one
bring that up though,
specifically.
because specifically when you tell people that you are a fan of superhero movies, you instantly get a certain amount of judgment.
Yep.
That like I can say I love movies, but if I say I love superhero movies, then it's like, oh, Ethan, he doesn't actually
The
like
most oppressed people, gamers, than superhero movie lovers.
Well, it's, I know it's popular, but in the world of people who study cinema, you're not gonna find them with superhero movies.
I'm just
close
saying,
to
you,
their
you
top
cannot
10.
watch a movie like this, specifically the last hour of this movie, and say that this is not
Yeah.
exceptional work right here.
There are, I would say that film people, like film buffs, aren't looking for this kind of story in a movie.
Yeah,
And
good, fun, entertaining.
Yeah, right.
'Cause
Visually
half of it-
impressive.
half of it is more for the common audience. There's nothing critically thought about. Like, you're not going to this movie expecting a super deep, critical, life-changing movie. And
Which this movie has.
it gets close.
I've listened to a lot of podcasts where, or specifically one, I don't remember when I heard this story, but it was a guy talking about how he was never able to forgive his dad for the way he raised him. And us three up here are blessed to have amazing fathers. Shout out to our dads.
Love your dad.
Love you, dad. Yeah.
That's what I said.
But this guy was talking about how this movie was the movie that opened him up to being able to forgive his father. And I think that is just super cool.
That a movie can do
that.
that?
A movie can do that. Yeah, specifically this one, a superhero movie about this wacky space team. I was thinking about it when Yondu, Rocket, and Groot were escaping the scavengers, you know, when all the bodies are falling. I was looking at that shot of them walking. I'm like, what a wacky group of people to have me emotionally invested in.
Oh.
It's just so impressive.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about Rocket and Yondu. They have a great relationship in this movie. I know who you are, boy, because you're me. That whole sequence. Are you kidding me?
Out of nowhere, too. Like, going into that scene, they just get out of hyperspace from, like, their 700 dimensional warp or whatever, and they're like, their faces were all jumbled out.
Yeah.
And they jump out of it. Groot throws up. Rocket's on the floor. He's yelling. Yondu's yelling. And then all of a sudden, he gets all deep on him. He's like, how was you, boy? And where did that come from? What? I think there could have been something before then. If I had one critique about that scene, like, where did that come from? Like, that escalated very quickly.
No. They build to it perfectly.
Because I
in my
think
opinion.
Rocket's
I guess that if
Rocket's
they had something
actions-
more in the prison, that would have been cool.
They did have a moment in the
No,
prison.
no,
I was
something more in the prison.
oh, okay.
Yeah, in
Well,
addition.
I think that's where their relationship starts, though.
Yeah.
Like, I was a Kree battle slave for 20 years. Like, he starts to divulge his past. We get a new side to Yondu that we've never seen before. They humanize this awesome character from the first film. And you get one of the most emotional, at this point in the Marvel Universe, probably the most emotional death that we've gotten in the MCU.
In the MCU.
Let me clarify that real quick. We just got done watching
Just got
Logan.
Logan. Yeah.
But like I said there in that podcast, this is where we start to say goodbye to some of the most fan favorite characters. And Yondu absolutely earns his place as one of the best in.
Can you throw up Comic Yondu on the screen?
Comic Yondu?
Yeah, just so
Yeah.
we look at it. Just
Do you-
because they get his look down.
What do you
it's a
think?
prototype Finn.
What do you think was more of a more emotional death? Was it Doctor Strange's old one,
Ancient one?
ancient one,
The old one.
the old one. You know what I'm
Can't
saying?
remember her name.
Oh, it's this.
Nice
This is
mohawk.
it. Yeah. Come on.
So we're looking at the
Or was
image
it
on the
Yondu?
screen here, and they have the original team up at the end in a post-credit scene with the OG Guardians of the Galaxy, Stakars leading them and everything like that. I would have loved, as he was talking about, we weren't so different from you and your friends, a shot, because they had them all in the movie, of them younger, and we got that Yondu with the blade, the arrow. I mean, come on, that would have been sick.
I think he did the same thing for Yondu in the comics as Chris Pratt did for
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And
And
they changed the look of what Yondu and Star-Lord look like.
I'll say this: Ancient One's death doesn't even come close to Yondu's. Set to Yusuf, father and son. That song
That was pretty sick.
is legitimately one of the best
And
songs
if you
ever.
consider that scene where Quill is listening to the music, Chris Pratt talks about how acting in that scene is so hard because he's sitting there with nothing on his lap. You know, he's a little Groot, but he's gotta cry with him, and it's so cool the way that they kind of use Groot as a son figure in this movie. Really like that. And we could kind of talk about the music, but something I thought was really cool watching a special feature is all the scores for this movie were completed before they shot the movie. So
really?
specifically in the Yondu death scene, James Gunn said Michael Rooker and Chris Pratt had the score playing in their ear as they were
Are you kidding me?
as they were acting that scene. So their performances were elevated by the score. And he said that they did that for a lot of the scenes in this movie. And I'm like, I've never heard that before.
The music is so
the score
integral
being
to the
completed
plot.
before. Yeah.
You know what they did that? They did that for a major production recently, the Kenobi show.
Oh,
They actually had
How'd that turn out for him?
Duel of the Fates playing during the Kenobi Vader fight.
oh, no way.
Where was that in the actual show?
I don't know.
But let's not get down
Maybe we
that
gotta
rabbit
turn
I did
up the
like
volume.
how James Gunn saw Chris Pratt's reaction to Yondu's death and just copy pasted it, but elevated it to 10 for Volume 3 with Rocket's death.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that no, that yell. Oh, so good.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that
It
moment
really
hits.
it pierces you, man. That is a good
No.
scream.
Yes,
for,
it is.
I think just agonizing.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't do most of it right. He might have been your father's son, but he wasn't your daddy. Like, dude, come.
Mary
I'm
Poppins,
sorry.
y'all.
This movie, I'm telling you, man, this is something special.
good
I
movie,
like the
yeah.
first Guardians, but man, this is Spider-Man 2 for Spider-Man 1.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion. Like, it takes what you love and makes it so much better. It deepens every single character. I know people have a lot of issues with Ego. Is he the best Marvel villain? Absolutely not. But how he relates, at least he relates and has impact on the main
Definitely
characters.
better than Ronan.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
easily.
way better than Ronan. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Russell, also fantastic in this movie. Like, he is really, really good.
Do you guys remember the first thing you saw Kurt Russell in growing up? We had these VHS Disney movies, the Strongest Man in the World, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, Computer War Tennis Shoes. These are real iconic Disney classics that I remember seeing him in. But I don't know, is he etched into your childhood like he is in mine?
I feel like I seen him in a Western somewhere, but not particularly, no. Kurt Russell was never really my...
Micah? Anything with Kurt Russell in it?
I didn't- I didn't-
Other than Sky High, of course.
I didn't watch The Fox and the Hound. Did you guys watch The Fox and the Hound?
Yeah, I love Fox and the
He
Hound.
played Cooper.
Are you serious?
Yeah. When he was an old guy, he played Cooper.
Fox and the
Besides,
Hound is peak.
I've got nothing else on this list. I didn't watch Fox and the Hound. I guess my first movie, I did watch a little bit of Fox and the Hound when I was little. What? His first movie?
Just his old Disney stuff.
When you're the best.
Gilligan's
of
Island
friends.
for one episode. Yeah.
Man, that's good stuff.
My first experience watching Kurt Russell in like a real thing was when I watched the Quentin Tarantino movie Hateful Eight as John Ruth. That was a good movie. He plays like the,
Okay.
I don't know if I should say.
No, don't.
It's a twisty movie. It's
Where
really
does
good.
where does
Twist eyes.
Ego rank among the villains?
It's a really good twist. Like if you did, I remember it. I didn't see it coming because you think, oh, like he's here, and Peter didn't trust him at first, but then like we see, oh, he's good now. Like
Yeah.
he can make balls with his hands, and he can. Oh,
I
this
think,
is cool.
I think it works either way because like even Quill's like this guy. This is not my dad. I'm not gonna buy
Showing
into
up
this,
now.
but like
Yeah.
the movie makes it work because
Yeah.
that scene when he does make the ball and they're playing catch, you feel the emotions of that. You're like, yeah, I'm buying into this, even though he's probably gonna be a horrible guy. You feel what it's doing to Quill, and you feel the work that they're doing there.
This reminds me of another movie we just recently watched called Treasure Planet. With a kind
true,
of father-son relationship that we have
There you
with
go.
I don't remember the main character's name, but with Silver,
Jim.
Jim Hawkins,
Jim Hawkins, and
Treasure
Silver.
Island.
And
Jimbo.
they have this relationship where they do the same things, but he has a completely different motive from what our main character has, and it's not evident throughout the whole story. And Guardians 2, we don't see that, but you can totally like make that, oh yeah, he has these ulterior motives the whole time. And there is a little bit of pain in him when he has to kill him, when he has to take Star-Lord's energy.
Well, there's that great moment before they start playing catch. And Ethan, if you can play the clip here.
This form will wither and perish.
So why didn't you come back? Why did you send Yondu, a criminal of all people, to come and to fetch you?
I loved your mother, Peter. I couldn't stand to set foot on an Earth where she wasn't living. You can't imagine what that's
I know
like.
exactly what that feels like. I had to watch her die.
Dude, are you? There's so many moments like that in this movie. I don't know, man. I'm already thinking about putting this higher on my already high score.
Ooh,
for this.
okay,
I don't know. This did something to me. It made me feel good things. It
put a
made me
tumor in
feel,
your brain.
dude. I don't know. Like I'm singing this movie's praises,
like,
man.
The past 2 weeks have been really hard for my self-evaluation of my scores on our ranking because, like, I don't know.
You know what? I think the movie said it well when it said it's not fast food, it's fan food, right? The Dairy Queen sign was right.
Mm-hmm.
This is more fan food than fast food.
Yeah, but see, there's a lot to this movie and what it's trying to say here. Because, yeah, you can have movies that are about the human condition and your place in the universe, and they're deep, methodical. Your Blade Runner 2049s, for example, what it means to be a human. But then there's a movie that everyone can relate to about the relationship between a father and a son. Everyone can relate or not relate. Everyone's got a dad.
In some way, yeah.
In some way. And this movie tackles that theme to perfection. You have a dad, or if you don't, you also have a father figure. Someone played that role in your life. And whether you realize it or not, they're always there.
Or you
And
can relate to this if you didn't have a father figure. It's like a universal
Sometimes
theme.
when these movies come out, I always tend to think about Scorsese, and when he's like, "It's just not cinema. They're fan service. They're theme
amusement
park
park
rides."
rides, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how can you say that and then watch this movie? There's so
Scorsese
much
has not
love.
watched this movie. Like,
He said he's watched them all.
he's watched them all.
From Howard the Duck to Guardians to.
Did he rank them like us?
Oh, we got to see the Scorsese Marvel
Yeah,
movie
does
marathon
Scorsese
list.
have a Marvel ranking? Maybe ask Google Bard. Maybe Google knows if you can't find it. But I don't know. I just get frustrated. And the musical, the score for this by Tyler Bates, he does a fantastic job. But
Right.
the soundtrack is where you're there for.
It does hurt where you look at the trilogy of the Guardians movies, and I love the third one too. Like I think they're all great in their own way.
October 2019 is when he said it, so we got to
Wait.
pay attention.
But when you look at all the movies, like how would this trilogy stand if I love their involvement in Infinity War and Endgame, but what if they weren't in those movies? And if we got like the most clean cut trilogy within the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the Guardians, like Gamora and Quill would
Right.
end differently than they do.
Because how would that play out
Yeah.
if she hadn't have died. Spoiler alert. It's a good question.
Like James Gunn did exactly what he needed to do with the third one because he took what the Russos did with his characters and he course corrected it. Not that we're not going to talk about Infinity War and
Right.
Endgame yet, but
This
there-
movie does make me a little more at peace because one of my main criticisms with Guardians 3 is that Quill and Gamora don't have a happy ending. They just kind of part ways. And I look at scenes with the dancing sequence set to Sam Cooke's music, and I'm like, oh man, wouldn't this be nice if they got together? And she even says it at the end here, that unspoken thing between the two of us. And it's like, oh, but it kind of is set up like in this movie. I mean, even Drax says, you know, Gamora is not the woman for you, Quill. You need to find someone pathetic. And I think there's one more moment in this movie where I was like, ooh, okay, there's another little thing right here.
Drax saying metaphors is weird.
Dude, you know what's
It's very proven in Guardians 3. He cannot say just like something deep at all.
Well, I think for a character who gets a lot of criticism by just being comedic relief, there's that scene with Mantis on the
Yes.
steps,
Mantis is really good too.
Yeah, that's a good scene.
and she feels what he feels after
you
he
could
talks
see
about
the
his
pain.
family.
Yeah.
He doesn't cry.
You could see
He
the
sits
pain,
there
though.
and just feels it and doesn't show any emotion, but she
Right.
feels it
You
for
see,
us.
yeah, you really see how stone cold he is when she takes all that emotion from, and she just starts shedding tears, and he's sitting there like there's a lot going on in that man's that's brain.
And then you have Gamora and Nebula going back as the sisters they never had. For that element makes Endgame even more personal.
Yeah.
And I was looking through with Mom, and the poster of Infinity War on Disney Plus has Thanos in the center, Iron Man on the left, and Gamora on the right. And I'm like, wow, of all the characters that are in Endgame, Gamora is the one of the three who gets the title card. She's one of the best parts of Infinity War and often gets overlooked. But my mom made that observation and it pointed out to me. I was like, huh, interesting. Gamora is one of the best parts, the daughter of Thanos. I don't think we truly captured that when we saw this for the first time.
Right. That's what really makes these rewatches so worth it because you see the work that they do in the third Guardians or in Infinity War, and you really get to appreciate the moments that we got before we really appreciated the moments that we got.
Oh.
And the scene with Mantis, like instantly when I first watched this movie, I wasn't bought into Mantis. I'm like, all right, whatever, goofy, wacky character. But now
Agreed.
instantly I'm like, all right, I like this character a lot.
Yeah, I remember not caring about Mantis at all in any of the watch throughs that I did before, and Guardians 3 really adds a layer to it, and especially, and even I guess even the stuff that she does in Infinity War, how she really holds her own and is an integral part to the stopping of Thanos and Infinity War, or at least the prevention for a bit. And I guess a question I have to ask you guys is: are there any arcs in this movie that are thrown up in the air but are never caught in Guardians 3? Because there's a couple movies that the Guardians are featured in between movies. And if you were to watch this as a trilogy, which I'm sure we'll talk about in Guardians 3, but that might not be for a while. So I want to talk about that
Yeah,
now.
I kind of mentioned that a second ago, talking about how clean cut the trilogy would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what...
But what specifically? you're
Yeah, because
asking?
I think that there are some things with
So biggest thing
Mantis that they just
is
bring up.
Quill in this movie doesn't want to return to Earth, and he
Yep.
has strong feelings against going back to Earth. We see that in Guardians 3, he goes back to Earth, but he's also at Earth at Avengers Campus in Endgame. So that's kind of part of it. The whole
That's weird.
Gamora arc. What would you say?
I would say things with Mantis that are just brought up in Holiday Special. So I guess not the things that were thrown up, but the things that just kind of appeared after Infinity War. Like, oh, we got to come up with stuff for just a little bit extra in Guardians 3. So having that further connection with Quill is something that I think was a little cheap just to be thrown into Holiday Special.
It
but
works though.
It
'cause
works. It works. It's just
Ego impregnated a million women, so
sure did.
Mantis can easily be one of
It's just
the offspring.
yeah. I wonder why Ego didn't tell. Oh, you know what? Celestials. It's our first Celestial that appears on Earth that is never mentioned again. So now there are 2 moments of Celestials happening on Earth, and
Birthing out of Earth.
birthing out of Earth, and they still haven't been mentioned in the MCU.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I love how everyone points to the Eternals one when this one did happen much
He's
sooner.
literally
Yeah.
a Celestial, yeah. First name drop of Celestials.
Is it?
I believe.
Yeah, first name drop, but
We
we've
might have
seen
got it in Guardians
Guardians
1.
1.
Oh yeah, okay.
We saw Celestial and
I
Guardians
don't
know what
one.
else we
if they
saw in this
name it,
movie.
Yeah.
With the Stan Lee cameo.
Yes.
Watchers.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what Stanley's talking about in his cameo?
He's talking about our
He's
Civil
talking about
War.
being a FedEx driver. So is this, does this confirm that the Stanley we see is the same Stanley?
It's got to be the same
gotta
one
be.
as
In
that
every
one.
universe.
He knows what he's doing.
This has been a multiverse longer
Stan-
than you guys have realized. Let me just put that out there right now. All right. Is there, because I know we've got favorite scenes coming up. I know we got favorite characters. Is
Talk
there
about
anything
post-credits?
else?
There's
like
5 of them?
5 post-credit scenes, yeah.
There's a
And
pre-credit, 4 mid-credits.
I'm glad you brought this up because the credits themselves are also very fun to watch.
Yeah.
You have the Grandmaster in there. Jeff Goldblum's in the credits. You see him dancing in one of the circles.
Really?
I Am Groot is throughout the credits, and it changes into cast names, and that's really fun. And the music video,
Did you catch the best one?
the best one.
Right at the best little text thing at the end. So at the end, the very last
No
line,
raccoons or-
no raccoons
Yeah,
or
I did catch that.
tree creatures were harmed, but we cannot guarantee that the handlers of those raccoons and tree creatures were harmed.
I know James Gunn really took because Kevin Feige's like, all right, this is why we do end credit scenes, or this is why they started, is so that people would stay through the credits. But James Gunn really made me sit through the entire credits, watching everything because there was so much in there.
Pixar did it first with like Finding Nemo and stuff, but
That was
This-
Toy Story bloopers,
this
man.
was cooler.
The most entertaining credit sequence.
Oh, High School Musical 2. I watched that.
Peak.
Bloopers in the credits.
Best sequel out there.
There's even a Howard the Duck, I believe, who makes an appearance
Oh, there sure is.
in the
In
end
High
credit
School
scene,
Musical
yeah.
too?
Oh man, that's actually why I won't watch it.
That would make
'cause
High School
Howard's
Musical
not in
2 a 10 out of 10.
it. Man, that's true. All right, boys. Favorite character
Mm.
in Guardians? There's a lot of them.
Logan.
This is this.
I'll also take Logan.
I'll take Wolverine. All right, I'm gonna shoot this to Micah first.
Oof. I gotta go with Drax. My dad and I quote Drax lines all the time. Well, not like all the time, but if we're quoting a Marvel movie character, it's 9 times out of 10 gonna be Drax from either this movie or Guardians. Not Guardians, Infinity War. We'll just like say the lines for no reason. Like, I have mastered the art of moving so incredibly slow that I become invisible to the naked eye. Like just stupid little lines like that. And Drax in this movie, no exception. Love how he just his guttural laugh. I love the part where he's being thrown around, but behind the in the trees,
Yeah.
just boom, 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 and we land. The ship falls on him, and he's just laughing his butt off and saying, "Oh, that was amazing! I gotta do that again." Just subverting expectations in every single way.
Mhm.
I love it. He's the Hulk that we don't get.
Mm.
Like, I would love. I mean, no, I wouldn't love. Drax is his own character.
Yeah, let's-
but this is a better version of Hulk, in my opinion. Not to true what true Hulk should be, but he's a super strong, dumb guy who has his moments.
He's unfortunately who the Hulk is right now.
Yeah.
Like-
Unfortunately, the Hulk tries to copy him. We see that in. Oh, I have some burning feelings for Ragnarok, and they're not good ones.
That's so funny.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
I can't wait to talk about that movie.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, Drax wins a spot in my heart.
All right. Okay.
Spot in all of our hearts. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ben,
In my gray skinned heart. Also, real quick, only took 90 minutes for him to get the makeup on for this movie compared to the 3 hours
they
in
improved.
the last movie.
Makeup was crazy in this movie too.
Yeah, I feel like this felt so. We said that with the first movie that it felt like more Star Warsy, right? And this one definitely felt, especially when they're on the Ravager planet. That
Yeah.
felt Star Wars
But
for sure.
James Gunn does it in a way where you're not like, oh, this is Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's so it feels
Yeah.
it feels Guardians.
It feels
he
Guardians.
created
It's
his
just-
own like separate space genre.
It's like
and
the level of
the world building's really cool. Like I love the lasers on the ship. Yeah. The way they're these little balls that roll throughout the ship and then shoot lasers wherever you need to shoot lasers. That's really cool.
James like balls in this movie.
Yeah, I did.
Did you make a penis? All right, I'm gonna go with
about that.
I'm gonna go with I go Yondu.
Mhm.
Yeah, I, knew,
I
okay.
gotta take Yondu.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
Mary
y'all.
Poppins. He's very cool. I just because it's the last time we're really gonna get to see him and get to live in that character.
Mhm.
He's
Until What If?
so what if
True.
yes but what he does, the seriousness by which this part of the movie takes him from the absolute beginning all the way through, I think he has excellent lines of comedy, and I think he gives and is in the most emotional moments in this movie, and it's part of the reason
Yeah.
why I think this movie is one of the best
Mm.
in the
Whoa.
MCU. In the MCU.
Okay.
12
So
out of 10.
I'm taking
11
Yondu.
out of 10.
I'm taking Yondu.
I figured you'd take Yondu. I didn't think we'd have overlap, but always like letting you go first in the character
Thank
pick.
you.
But I'll go Quill. I think Gamora's up there too,
Oh,
and Nebula's a cool character, and Mantis is an underdog. Rocket, of course, always there. But I'll shout out Rocket here real quick, just because they do a lot of work with him in this movie, especially with the name calling. He's called Rat. He's called Raccoon. He corrects people. I'm not a raccoon.
Triangle face rat.
Yeah,
Trash Panda.
It really pays off.
So much worse.
Pays off in that third movie
Yeah,
when
it does.
when he finally accepts who he is. But I'll go Quill just because I love Chris Pratt's portrayal of Peter Quill and Peter Jason Quill. Is that his middle name? I want to say Jason. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's Jason.
But Peter Quill is just I love just his character in this movie, and specifically a lot of his arc and him realizing like I'll talk about it in my favorite scene, but just his revelation, like it's it's the friends we made along the way,
Yeah.
right? And that scene with him and Yondu is really great. But
Man.
these movies I think are looked at because whenever I talk to people about Guardians, they're like, I said this in the first one, they're like, oh yeah, those are the funny ones. I like those Guardians movies. Those are funny.
More than that.
Bro, it's more than that. It's so
Way
much more
more.
than that. And James Gunn really catches your emotion in this, and he does a great job of just making you feel. And actually watching this movie got me excited, like, okay, how is this guy gonna do Superman? I'm really interested to see what this guy does with Superman.
Yeah, and it is cool that some people only get the comedy aspect out of this movie because they can watch it again and they can say, oh, wait, there's tons of stuff that I
They can
missed.
mature a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not solely a comedy.
Right.
It never, I don't think, ever crosses that threshold. It's funny, don't get me wrong.
That's what makes
Still
a good
is.
movie is when it appeals to multiple people on multiple levels. Where if they're going in for a comedy, they'll get a comedy. If they're going in for a comedy with a little bit of, a little bit of something on there, you'll get it.
If I'm sitting there at the end of a comedy and almost tearing up, it's more than a comedy, all
yeah.
right? So let's just, it's not just the funny ones. I like you make that distinction, Ethan.
It's kind of crazy that they shadow dropped a season 2 of I Am Groot this week. Did you guys know that?
It was
I
a couple
believe
weeks ago, yeah.
It was a couple weeks.
Ethan.
I didn't
told
even
me,
know
yeah.
about it.
Yes, Ethan did tell
We
me
talked
about
about it, I think I talked to you. Has the live action Watcher in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Jeffrey Wright.
gotta watch it.
You gotta watch it.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, before we
that
do
was, like,
favorite scene,
Canon after Guardians 2, I figured I'd bring it up.
before we do favorite scene, I say because I didn't. To be fair, I am hot on this movie, but I want to open it up for a criticism portion because there are people who think this is the worst one out of the
Yes,
three.
yeah.
We need it. We do need to address
Have
criticisms.
Specifically, Sean Chandler on YouTube hates this movie.
He does
Yeah.
not like this
So,
movie. No.
I don't know.
Do we have any criticisms
I
with
think-
this movie?
I think if there's one character to call weaker in the plot line, it would be Nebula, in my opinion. I feel like, sure, there are the implied sisterhood things that aren't that are trying to work themselves out, and you see that she has this just drive to murder her sister and destroy Thanos, and you get that nice shot with Kraglin where she's like rolling off on all the stuff she's gonna do, and he's like, okay, I thought you were gonna get a nice necklace or something. I'll leave you to it.
Something that make the girls go,
Yeah.
"Ooh, that's
Yeah,
nice."
yeah.
But I found her writing was a bit immature, and that might prove to her character to be accurate. Sure, just compared to the other characters,
Yeah,
I feel
okay.
like her motives weren't as strong, and her goals weren't as there as I would have wanted them to be. But for a side character, there has to be at least one, right?
I liked her. I think the sibling dynamic really worked for me because it was one of those things like, oh yeah, you'll scream at, you'll punch, you'll yell at your sibling, but you don't want them dead.
And
you know?
she didn't. I don't
Right,
feel like
no,
she
you-
seemed as intimidating as in the
Yeah.
first movie either. That's
She
another-
shouldn't
They're
be.
making her a
She's-
little
she-
soft.
She stood
shouldn't
there,
be.
yeah.
She's vulnerable now.
But she's trying to be intimidating. She was standing over, boys, I'll take this from here, right? Like, I don't know. It didn't work for me as well.
Okay.
But
That's fair.
all the other characters in this movie make it up. And that is completely fine by me. We already talked about Sabretooth, whatever his face
Taser
is.
face. Yeah.
Gazer face, Gazer
Gazer
beam.
face.
dude. I think Nebula's great, man.
Yeah.
I really do think she works.
It's just me
me,
nitpicking.
me
He's
personally.
trying.
I'm
me
trying.
personally, I think Nebula's story.
She's what
along
drops
with
it from a
Gamora,
10 to a something else that I'll give it later. But
She's the problem.
not the only problem.
Well, what other problems would you say?
I think the first half is definitely not as strong as the second half.
Could have picked up a little
Yeah,
more.
it could have.
But I
that's-
like the world building they have.
Yeah, that's just trying to bring our scores down.
It's no Infinity War cold open.
Okay.
Oh, what do you think
can't
about
just
that?
have an Infinity War cold open. Like, we're talking two different movies here, man.
I mean, that's the difference for me. The trailers weren't that great. Ragnarok is not that movie.
Okay. Trailers don't have anything to do with the actual
Did you
quality
guys see
of the
the
film,
Ragnarok
though.
trailer? All right. Well,
You
well,
hate Ragnarok, don't you?
no. I like Ragnarok. It's just
I'm excited for that.
different.
It's a different Thor movie, that's for sure.
It's not Thor 1.
Definitely
right.
not.
Let's
Yeah, all right. Favorite scene. Micah.
favorite scene. I'm gonna go with the. Oh man, what would be a good scene in this? I feel like
There's a lot.
a lot of this
A
movie.
lot of the movie you can grab.
Is there really a kind of? Okay, yeah, there is. When Groot pushes the right when the chain is going, and Peter and Ego are going at it with their
Oh,
superpowers.
That's mine. That was mine.
The Pac-Man thing was cool. I think they could have gone even further with it though. They could have done all of his. I'm gonna make some weird stuff, man.
Yeah.
They could have done all of them.
Go pixels with it.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's my favorite. I think they could have gone. Another complaint from the first movie that goes on to this one. They could have leaned into the music even more. I feel like they cut off the music too short. I want to hear more of the music, man. I want to hear the chain.
Yeah, and this
That moment is beautiful.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ethan.
James Gunn, like it's cool. I don't know if we talked about it before we hit record. I don't know if we talked about how Brandy is so like in the script
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
of the movie and how it is part of the dialogue and it's part of Ego's motivation. Like as he's killing Quill,
You're a
it's like
fine girl.
he's like,
What a
but
girl
this
like
this
you
is my sea. This is the
love
sea.
Man.
Yeah.
Life of my
Like,
lady
that is really great.
is the
That-
sea.
That won't be my favorite scene though. I am gonna take I can say Yondu's death, but I have to specify which part because there are a lot of different parts of that. But specifically when Quill is standing over his body and he says, sometimes that thing you've been searching for your entire life was right by your side and you never knew it. You know, and then
And that kind of comes true in Guardians 3
right,
too.
but then it comes true in this movie too. You get the montage of him with his family and Drax says it better than Vin Diesel has ever said it ever, but Drax says we're family. He says that in this movie, and I love it
100%.
because it works in these movies. Doesn't work in a certain other kind of movie, but I actually was watching some behind the
Mr.
scenes
Nobody
stuff of
movie?
Vin Diesel recording the lines for this movie, and they just pitched him down. He like delivers a line real slow, and then they just pitch him down. It was funny. I love that Vin Diesel was still doing Groot, but that's my scene. I love Quill just realizing like, I always wanted a dad. I was carrying around that picture of David Hasselhoff, but he's like, I had it all along, and I didn't know, and he has that family all along too. So yeah, that's my scene. But there's a lot of great scenes though.
So if I take the Ravager funeral sequence,
It's different.
is that different
It-
enough to
they're
take
all
that
there.
as my own?
It all takes place while father
What
and
a
son is
beautiful
playing.
shot.
It's the end
Yeah,
of the movie.
the end of the movie, yeah.
The ending movie as they all sit there and watch the funeral, and they all each have something to say about it. Quill looks at Rocket, how much Rocket's being affected by this death, and Quill and Gamora sitting right there looking back at each other, some unspoken thing. Finally, there's progression with the relationship. And all throughout, the most beautifully visual scene in the movie, man, it was amazing. I'm telling you. And then it cuts. All of that said to in my opinion, the best song in the movie out of almost all of the song, like almost every song in this movie is perfectly used. And then listening back to it, it's even better. I think listening back, the best song is Lakeshore Drive, but the song that best fits the movie, I think, is Father and Son. It draws the most emotion out of me. Man, I'm gonna take that last sequence for Guardians 3.
I have another
Guardians
question for you guys.
2.
Guardians 2, yeah.
What is your favorite post-credit scene? So the pre-credit, mid-credits, or post-credit, there are like 5 of them.
There are 5 of them. Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Kraglin practicing the arrow.
he stabs Drax.
The drug.
I'll take the OG Guardians teaming up. That was hype
Nice.
for me.
I'm trying to remember them all. What were the other ones?
There was the.
Adam Warlock is the final credit
I don't
scene.
care about that one.
That
You don't
one's-
care about eyebrows?
Who? Oh,
Adam
Will
Warlock.
Poulter.
Will
We
Poulter.
didn't know it was Will Poulter yet.
He wasn't there yet.
No.
I thought Adam Warlock was going to be very different from
Oh,
how he turned
also-
out to be.
I know
That's
they're
for
not
sure.
supposed to be likable, but I didn't like the Sovereign. I think
Yeah,
they were
they're
kind
not
of.
supposed to be likable.
Yeah,
man.
I just didn't
the
really
villains of the
care
movie.
for them.
It feels like something that was like thrown in like, oh, we need something that'd make this first half of the movie
Yeah.
work.
Well, and they come in the second half along with Ego already being a threat.
They didn't need to be there as much.
I don't think they did. I agree.
I did like the that bit with the tape.
Yes.
That was really funny.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that was
It
good.
went on for a while, and it was like good though.
It was good. Yeah.
Drax, you have any tape? Yeah,
Yeah,
Scotch
Scotch
tape will do.
Why'd you say it if you don't have any Scotch tape?
Oh, okay, hold on. I have to mention the opening dance montage, one take.
So good.
Before this podcast ends, that is beautiful. All set to Mr. Blue Sky, which is another fantastic song.
Is it better than the cold open of Guardians 1? Or I guess not
That
the dance part in Guardians 1.
I'm gonna say no, just
that's
because
iconic. That's iconic.
Chris Pratt's. I mean, it's so iconic they brought it back for Endgame.
I think it's just as good on a different level.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
for a different, just as good on a different. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. As far as scores go, I think you mentioned it up top. It was 7th.
Yeah,
Do you know
7.
that ranks it at
first.
Let me
7?
talk about money real quick. This made
Good idea.
it made more than the third movie actually, which surprises me. This one made 869, nice.
Nice.
And Guardians 3 made 845. Guardians 1 made 770. So definitely an improvement over the first one.
So this,
Although
yeah.
the budget was a little higher on this movie at 200 compared to 170, and Guardians 3 was 250. So there's a little bit of wiggle room on each way. I already said about the nomination for best visual effects. But yeah. So do you want me to go into online scores?
Yeah. Well, we kind
Well, I
of
didn't talk
know
ab-
what the internet thinks,
Yeah,
but
I'll run through it
we
real
need
quick.
to also talk about the infamous list.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course.
So Rotten Tomatoes critic gave it an 85, audience an 87, Metacritic a 67, Metacritic user a 7.8, IMDb a 7.6, and and Letterboxd sitting at a 3.5. Averaging out to a 77. A
Not bad.
7.7 out of 10.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Where do you guys think the Hollywood Reporter rated this? Is this in the here, let me rank it by Hollywood Reporter. Is this in the top half or the bottom half? Wait,
I'm
here we
gonna
go, here we go. Is this better or worse than Ang Lee's Hulk?
No. I'm not even going to entertain the Hollywood Reporter. This is better than Ang Lee's Hulk.
What the heck? I
They-
gave Ang Lee's Hulk like a 3.
They did not screw that up.
What the heck?
Ang Lee's Hulk is 41st place. Guardians Volume 2 is 43rd place. Iron Man
no
3 is
way.
45th, by the way. We're sitting
Ang Lee's Hulk.
yeah, we're
they
sitting
put
just
better-
under X-Men
They
Apocalypse.
did not rewatch these movies making
No,
us
they
I
did.
actually
they
need to
did
see
not.
Ang Lee's Hulk
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah.
Just
so
to, like-
we have Black Widow, The Incredible Hulk, Ang Lee's Hulk, X-Men Apocalypse, Guardians 2, Venom Let There Be Carnage, Iron Man 3, Venom, Amazing Spider-Man
Yeah,
2, then Dark World. Oh man, I can go on. This is so trash.
That kind of works though, because I'm working on the Ang Lee Hulk shorts right now. So I don't know. This is kind of full circle. The Hollywood Reporter article is connecting
There you go.
Guardians 2 and Ang Lee's Hulk.
It says that this
That's
is
disgusting.
a good 6 places better than First Class and 7 places better than Endgame. Or sorry, worse. Worse.
We're not even gonna need to consult the list for when Endgame comes
We'll
out.
throw
because
that
we
out.
know it's
Yeah,
we can
just
throw
so
that out.
disgusting.
But you know what list really matters?
That's true.
Is the Multiverse Monologues
Yup.
Marvel Movie Marathon ranking official.
Oh,
Ben,
man. I just
I think you should start us off. You are, I
Me?
think, the hottest on this movie.
oh
And by
man.
hottest, I mean you are on fire for this.
Wow. I
And
am.
you're hot.
I am. I love it. I love this movie so much. I think it makes me feel so good watching this movie. It gives me all of the feels, man, from happy
Amazing.
to sad. But where to rank it? I look at all the movies that I've ranked. Is it better than this? Is it better than this? That's what I kind of go off of. I also think about an aggregate score of where I just think the movie deserves to be, and then personally where I think it is, and then I try and average that out. And oh man, I'm gonna give this
Oh boy.
dude, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I'm gonna
9
give it
out
a
of
9.
10.
I
Wow.
entertained 9.5. I really
Okay.
did.
Thought you were a bit hotter than a 9.
Same level as Civil War, Days of Future Past, and First Avenger, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
I couldn't go higher. I think I like First Avenger just a little bit more than Guardians 2. And First Avenger's a 9. So I think this deserves a 9
Okay.
for me. I entertained a 9.5 though. I really did. But I think, to be fair, and I'm really hot on it right now, I think a 9 is good for me.
All right.
I've said why I like this movie throughout this podcast, so I don't need to go into it. I'm giving
Yeah,
it a
you
9.
don't got to defend your take.
Right. I'm gonna
Trash
go with
take.
Micah.
All right. I love this movie just as much as Ben. Maybe more. Maybe more. I love the character interactions. We already talked about all that. I love the jokes. A lot of the jokes work for me. Not quite everything works for me, but you know what? It's forgivable for me. I think it gives this movie character. I think it gives this movie depth. It's definitely a rewatchable movie. There are things, I mean, especially with a twist. Any movie with a twist ending gives you kind of something to rewatch and be like, oh, you know, it could have been something else. You know,
Something else.
This is something else. So you know, at the end of the day, is this beating Spider-Man 2? No. Is this beating Logan? No. But I'd say it's on the same level for me as it is for Ben. Same level as Civil War at a 9.4.
9.4.
9.4.
Wow.
This is a very solid movie with a lot of great character development. Every single character has an improvement from the first movie. They're just fleshed out in ways. Who would have thought before not me. Before
me.
Guardians 1 came out that we would get an amazing trilogy of just fantastic, like A+ characters all
With
around.
wacky, goofy character models and Yeah.
I mean, even little baby Groot.
Yeah, he's great.
Even baby
Who
Groot.
is not Groot? This is Groot's son.
New Groot.
This is baby Groot.
Yes.
This is
Baby
baby
Groot.
Groot.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people. Oh, Groot just grew
we get
back.
Teen Groot. That was one of the post
And then,
credit scenes.
Teen
Yes.
Groot. Yep. You can have that one.
I'll take that one. I guess I
There
never
you go.
didn't pick one.
Oh, I know how Yondu felt.
Yes.
All right, 9.4. Ethan.
Okay, yeah, I'm loving how high we are on this and how high I am on this because I remember liking the first one better than this one, and I still love the first one, but I gotta say I like this one just a little bit more because
7.6.
while I think the first one is a lot more tight, and I think I like the pacing of the first one a little better, the final act of this and the character payoffs is just so rewarding that it bumps it up just enough for me. And I had the first one 9.4, correct? I was
double check that.
pretty high on that.
9.6.
9.6.
9.4 for Days of Future Past.
Dang, wow. So I have to.
9.6?
All right. Then I can't.
10 out of 10.
I can't go as high as I wanted to with this, but I'll tie my Guardians 2 score. Dang, man, some of my scores are way too high when I look back.
9.6 for
You're trying to bump
Guardians?
up your average. You are the lowest average
Yeah,
on the.
every week is me trying to bump up my average now.
Let me see what your average went up to. It's got to be getting close to us, right? So
Let's-
your average before was a 6.5. Now it's a 6.59.
Yeah, so if I could rework this list, there are a few of my 10s that I'd lower just a little. Logan, I would keep a 10. The first Avengers, I would keep a 10. The other two 10s I have on there, I would lower just a bit. And a 9.6 for the first
Civil War
Guardians.
and Cap.
I gotta go. I go 9.6 for this one too, just because I do like it more than I wasn't gonna go that high with it, but I gotta stay true to myself. I do like it more than the first Guardians, so I gotta stay true to the list also.
I give
So,
9s, but
nine-
I think Captain America better than Guardians 2.
Yeah, go 9.6. And if you ask me, I like. Yeah, I like
9.6.
tying them.
9.65.
That's high, man.
9.6
But I gotta
is
go. I
pretty
gotta
high.
go there. Yeah.
So, Ben, with your 10 out of 10, Ethan with your 10 out of 10, and me with my 10 out of 10, which actually is a 9, a 9.6, and a 9.4, respectively. That gives us an average of 9.3 repeating.
Oh, this is going to be
9.3
high.
out of 10, which kicks Days of Future Past out of the top 5.
No.
Our underdog.
I think actually I did put this over Days of Future Past. Yeah,
I think I
did.
do too,
did.
but it is sad to see Days of
It
Future
is.
Past go.
By the top
which-
5?
It kicks us out of it kicks Days of Future Past out of the top 5. So Guardians 2, number 5,
I'm fine with it.
closely behind the Avengers, Civil War, Logan, and Winter Soldier. Kicking out of the number 10 spot, Iron Man 3 is now down to 11th place.
Okay.
Deadpool is down to 21st place.
Wow.
And Ghost Rider is now Spirit of Vengeance is now in 45th place.
Yes.
Man,
Hold up
yes.
the rear.
45th.
Will
Howard the
Eddie-
Duck, let me remind you, is now in 42nd place.
Ooh. What's between Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, and Howard the Duck?
2 places. There's Fan Four Stick and Electra.
Do we
In
all
44th
give,
and 43rd.
do we all give Spirit of Vengeance a half
A 1.
point, or we all gave it
We
a
haven't
1?
given anything
Okay, so
less
we
than a
haven't-
1.
That's going to be
We're
new,
saving that for marriage.
What do we all?
New Mutants.
I want to be married with my 0.5 and I want to be married with my 10. Actually,
Yeah,
you know
you
what?
haven't-
I'm going to be married to my 0.
Do you think you'll ever give a 10?
Man Thing, 2004.
When we go back.
Man.
No, wait.
All right.
Doctor Strange 78.
Ooh, we have that one ready to go.
Yep, Man
let
Thing
us
just came in the
know.
mail today. Doctor Strange has been sitting in the chamber for a while.
Okay. So 9.3 repeating. This is number 5
Which-
in the top 5.
Also brings our Volume 1 and Volume 2 average to 9.08.
That's
That is a high score.
the second
Second under cap. Yep.
under
it is-
cap so far.
It is comforting to know that, yes, Days of Future Past left the top 5, but Logan carried last week.
There you
so
go. Yep.
The X-Men is still represented in the top 5. I like it. It can't be all MCU. It can't be.
Nope.
As Drax carries Mantis and really takes him up, this movie carries top 5.
So I think that next week we're gonna be with a character that we haven't been with, at least as the focus of the film, for a while now, but it's a new incarnation, folks. It's a new incarnation. Next week we have Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah, unless I'm incorrect.
You are correct.
I
2
don't
months
think-
after
yeah.
Guardians Volume 2 came out in July 7th, 2017. I remember this movie fondly. I saw this one. I think this was the first of many that I saw opening night.
Very cool.
Oh, wait, no, I didn't see Ragnarok until after Infinity War, but yeah.
What?
I know.
Micah, you
I was a
astounded me,
Spider-Man
man.
homie.
You're all kinds of
That's
backwards,
crazy,
I
man.
was, yeah.
I didn't see Thor Ragnarok, arguably one of the most important movies
I didn't
to set up
see
Infinity War.
Ragnarok or Black Panther before Infinity War.
Dude, all I'm saying is if you roll Thor Ragnarok right into Infinity War, it makes
It is an epic.
Loki.
It's really
it makes
good,
that
yeah.
first sequence even more
Man.
brutal.
It hurts.
Like
yeah.
even more. I'm looking forward. I'm
Shaybash.
really looking forward.
Yeah, they shifted
I
Loki
think a
release.
better transition is Ant-Man and the Wasp into Infinity War.
You're right.
Like that's my thing. But like, as an old veteran worker, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for retirement, I start to see the light that is the end of the Infinity Saga, Infinity War,
we're
and
almost
Endgame.
there.
We're
Dark Phoenix.
almost there, man.
We're almost to Dark Phoenix,
Dude,
which does wrap up this
So
this
sad.
journey
Yes, it does.
for now.
dude, we gotta say that at the beginning one of these days because
No one listens this far.
I mean, if you do, just of course write in for your thoughts. But like we said last week, again, we are going to be stopping the Marvel movie marathon at Dark Phoenix. We have Endgame, then we have Dark Phoenix closing out the MCU and the Fox X-Men universe.
Not even
Stop.
gonna close out the Infinity
It's
Saga
not-
with Far From Home, huh?
It's not stop. We're gonna pause. We're gonna pause.
That's true. We're gonna
Yeah.
On
pause.
hiatus,
And
as they
there-
did in 2020.
There's a lot of movies that we have a lot of love for. Not just the MCU. We're talking about it today, man. We love Marvel movies, man, but dude, we have our hands in all sorts of fandoms. You want to talk to Lost? There's your guy right there.
This is
more than
Lost,
anything.
right here.
Episode by
Time to
episode
Lost.
ranking of Lost.
Are you kidding me?
Put your votes in now. The next marathon. I love.
Guys, I'll be bowing out of that one.
Let's go. Let's go to. Listen. Me and Ethan will do that one. Ethan put me onto that, and it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Thank you.
As far as TV
I
shows go.
accept that compliment.
You want to talk about Back to the Future? I mean, I've never seen anyone more passionate about
Oh,
that
dude, I got
franchise
2
than
full shelves
Micah.
of Back to the Future.
I mean, so we've got our feet.
But
in,
it's been a long journey through the MCU and
It has been.
extended universe. I am just 2 movies shy of having everything from Blade to
Or Howard the
What-
Duck.
from Howard the Duck,
to Dark Phoenix.
Far From Home.
Far From Home.
That's my furthest. I don't have New Mutants yet, so I have almost everything up through Infinity Saga.
that movie doesn't even deserve that title of movie.
Of
You'll see.
movie?
You'll see it when we get to it,
Oh, you
man.
mean New
it's
Mutants or No Way Home
New
or
Mutants.
Far From Home?
New Mutants, man. It's. Maybe we should stop on that one.
Dude, every time I look at
No,
the
that's a
IMDb page for it, I'm like, that dude was in the movie? Are you serious? I've never seen it. I
Dude,
know nothing about the movie.
Star-studded kid actors who have grown into like Anya Taylor-Joy. Are you kidding me? The kid from Stranger Things, like, dude, the
John.
girl from Game of Thrones.
Spoiler
like,
alerts, guys.
yeah,
I want to be
So,
completely blind
anyway.
into that.
Yeah, that's a dumpster
Guys,
fire.
we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 movies till Dark Phoenix.
That's it.
That's it.
How many movies until Infinity War? Like 5, right?
3, 4. Homecoming, 2 more, and then
Rag-
Infinity War.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Guys, we're here. We're in the end game
We're
now.
almost there, man. We're almost there.
We're in the end game now.
I've been saving Infinity War and Endgame.
Saving a rewatch
I
for
really
this.
have
I can't believe there
because
have been 5
many
movies
times,
since-
man.
They're just those movies
love
that
those movies.
you always want to watch. Yeah.
And especially because Endgame's like the finale, so you can't just go right into the finale. But Infinity War, man,
Guardians 2 is that movie I saved for this.
Last
The
time I
rewatch.
watched
Yeah.
a big
Okay.
portion of Infinity War was when we had that Lego night.
Yes, Legos.
Remember that?
that's a good point. That's true. It's a good throw it on movie. But
It's also a good sit down movie.
A good throw it on
I,
and pay attention to nothing that you're doing and just watch the movie.
I It's going to be a good time. Let's just say that. So look forward to that. Look forward to Spider-Man Homecoming next week. I know I certainly am. I really am a fan of Tom Holland, even though he's gotten a lot of criticism over the past few years. But we're gonna really take an in-depth look at what many have affectionately called Iron Man Jr. and discuss if that really is a fair
Iron Boy
assessment.
Jr..
Yeah, of the character. But that's going to be next week, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, this is Ben Rayside.
I'm Ethan.
My ego's too high. I'm Micah Head.
Signing off, we all hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.
Look at the little 1-inch man over there. You see him?